Hello friends, welcome to Knowledge House. Right now we'll be looking into today's The Hindu newspaper that is of date 16th of August 2018. So as usual, we'll be giving importance only to articles that are important from a UPSC and various other competitive exams perspective. So I welcome you all to this video. Let's start. The first article is regarding the healthcare scheme, which is an ambitious project of the current government. So the PM healthcare scheme from September 25. That's what PM declared in his Independence Day address, and also some comments were made about the women's role in armed forces, and also something regarding ISRO, which we will be looking into in the later part of this analysis. So the Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Wednesday announced not just the launch date for his ambitious health insurance scheme, but also a permanent commission for women officers on short-term service commission in the uniform services, and a plan for manned space mission. The PMJAA, that's what the scheme has been named, Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Abhiyan, PMJAA. Touted as the world's largest healthcare scheme, aims to provide cover of 5 lakh rupees per family annually, benefiting more than 10 crore poor people, and it will be launched on September 25. And rest of his comments were a bit political in nature, so let's not go into it. And definitely ensuring the masses. The second part of this article, this particular slide, is taken from the other page, that is from page 10 or something. I have not included it in, but that has some regarding some important information regarding the same. The key features of the PMJAA to be officially launched on September 25, and the launch pad, that is the project will start on pilot basis in 80 to 100 districts, and October will see the second phase of the expansion. The participants will be the 28 states and union territories, and all of them have agreed to join the healthcare scheme. Maharashtra, Kerala, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Punjab, Odisha, Telangana are yet to come on board. So yearly payments. Under the scheme, all registered beneficiaries will get a sum of 5 lakh rupees. The insurance money will be provided to beneficiaries on yearly basis. And core centers. The government will select 1.5 lakh healthcare centers and hospitals for implementation of the scheme. 1,200 crore allocated solely for development of such centers. So identification. This is a crucial part. Beneficiaries will be required to register their mobile number and their Aadhaar number or any kind of ID number. Benchmark. Only individuals recognized or registered under the socio-economic caste census of 2011 are eligible. This is the most important part. And Aadhaar angle. Only individuals with valid Aadhaar card will be eligible for this particular scheme. And who is eligible? Only financially weak and underprivileged members of the society will be eligible for the scheme, and a maximum of 5 members of such family will get insurance cover. So definitely there is an economic angle for this, because what kind of mechanism is government going to follow to dispatch or to render this kind of amount is going to be very crucial, because it's a question whether the government will start an insurance company that is specially designed for this particular purpose, or will it employ any kind of third parties, or if a third party comes into play, what will be the premium that what will be the amount that the government is going to pay for that particular company. And if some third party comes into play, definitely there will be a profit question. So will there be a kind of rejection ratio? Definitely all such questions need to be addressed. Anyway, let's wait for more details to come. That's all important about this particular article. Moving on to the next one. It is regarding the video conference for accused. So the Supreme Court has directed the legal services authorities and committees to extend video conferencing in every criminal case whenever the accused is in jail. They shall extend the facility of video conferencing between the counsel and the accused or anybody in the know of matter, so that the cause of justice is well served. That's what the bench of Justices A.M. Sapre and U.U. Lalit said in its order pronounced on 14th of August. That's all important about this particular article. Anyway, let's see how effective this particular order is going to be, especially coming to the like jail departments and various other departments. They are often lethargic to implement such things. So that's all important about this. Moving on to the next one. It is regarding the NRC guidelines. So time periods on hearings on claims and objections are likely to be extended. That's what this article says. So the center is mulling the relaxation of guidelines for migrant workers and laborers from other states who were not included in the final draft of National Register of Citizens in Assam that was published on 30th of July. So I'll repeat the statement once again. The center is mulling the relaxation of guidelines for migrant workers and laborers from other states who were not included in the NRC. So now the hearing date the hearing date that is those who were left out were allowed time till September 28 to file their applications and follow the particular procedure, and now the date has been extended to November 28. Earlier the process of claims and objections was to be done from August 30 to September 28. The court has asked the center to prepare a detailed SOP, that is standard of procedure, last week, and the report was filed before the Supreme Court registry on Tuesday, and it will be taken up for hearing on Thursday. And it said that during the course of the hearings by NRC authorities on disposing of the claims and objections of the state government in collaboration with the UIDAI, which will undertake the biometric enrollment for all applicants of NRC. So the government said the class 1 officers will be deployed by the state government, and 5 hearings a day will take place, or 8 hearings for cases involving children aged 14 years or less. Anyway, let's see how things are going to evolve, because till now itself there are a lot of allegations regarding the implementation of this part. Especially there was not, even though the whole process was under the Supreme Court direction, there was not Supreme Court oversight. That's one allegation. And the second one is, many of these people, the panchayat, the certificate, that is the residence certificate that was issued from the panchayat, is not considered as a something that is of valid nature in the enrolling process of NRC. So due to this sole reason, there were a lot of people who were left out of this NRC. Anyway, let's see how things are going to evolve, especially regarding the September 28 date. Within this date, we are likely to get more details regarding this. So that's all important about this particular article. Moving on to the next one. It is regarding AFSPA, that is Armed Forces Special Powers Act. So Assam rejected the move to shrink area under AFSPA. So the parliamentary panel says the center-state conflict over the extent of disturbed areas need to be resolved. According to a parliamentary standing committee, the report tabled in the parliament last month, the centre wanted to reduce the areas under the AFSPA in Assam, but the state government did not concur. The parliamentary committee, headed by former Union Finance Minister and the senior Congress leader P. Chidambaram, in its report tabled on July 19th, said that with an improvement in the security situation in most of the northeast states, the government should consider gradually reducing the area under AFSPA, especially the state of Assam and Meghalaya. Under Section 3 of the AFSPA, it can be invoked in places where the use of armed forces in the aid of civil power is necessary. AFSPA empowers the armed forces personnel deployed in the disturbed areas to kill anyone acting in contravention of the law, arrest and search any premises without a warrant, and provide cover to the forces from prosecution and legal suits without the center's sanction. So difference of opinion is there. The committee is unable to comprehend the divergent perceptions of the situation in Assam. On one hand, the ministry has asserted that there has been an improvement in the security situation in Assam. On the other hand, the area declared as a disturbed area under the AFSPA has been increased on the plea that it is not appropriate time to reduce the area. This is a paradoxical situation that needs to be resolved. That's what the committee has said. So that's all important about this particular article. Moving on to the next one. The permanent commission will lift the morale of women. Definitely this is an important development, especially with regards to women empowerment. And there are various other countries in which women are allowed in the armed forces. So as of now, permanent commission exists only for women in selected areas in the military. Army is the most reluctant in granting the same. And while women are given commission in all arms and services other than infantry, mechanized infantry, armored and arms and artillery, permanent commission is currently limited to education, legal branches, apart from the medical and dental services. These two streams were open for permanent commission for all three services in 2011. So it was really recently that these developments came into the scene. So that's all important about this particular article. Anyway, women empowerment used to be an essay topic if you look at the previous year papers, there will be a question regarding women empowerment and all that. So definitely, various dimensions of this development can be asked, or we can definitely add these points in the essay part. So that's all important about this particular article. Moving on to the next one, with human space flight, India to push their frontiers. So Gaganyaan, the human space flight program, green flagged and set for 2022 by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, is highly doable. Chairman of the ISRO K. Shivan said here soon after it was announced on Wednesday. That's what the article says. And when it achieves the mission, India would be the fourth nation to circle Earth after Soviet, America, and the Chinese. In 1984, the India's first astronaut, Wing Commander Rakesh Sharma, orbited the Earth as a part of the Soviet mission. So, India's space odyssey. What is the human space flight project all about? In 2022, three astronauts, mostly flight test pilots from the Indian Air Force, will circle Earth for 7 days from a distance of 300 to 400 kilometers. They will travel in a 7,000 kilogram crew capsule. A GSLV Mk3 launch vehicle will lift them to their orbit, and the flight will take off from the refurbished launch pad at Sriharikota. And the entire project will likely to cost 7,000 to 9,000 crore. And also proposed some of the features of this particular project are food, suits, and other systems of the crew, and astronaut selection and training, two unmanned trials, the first in 2 years, a new command and tracking center, that is ISTRAC, at Bangalore, and improved launch pad at the SDSC, that is Satish Dhawan Space Center at Sriharikota. So that's all important about this particular article. Moving on to the next one. It is regarding the retaliation of Turkey against the US tariff. So the Turkey doubled tariffs on some US imports, including alcohol, car, tobacco, on Wednesday, in retaliation for the US moves, while the lira rallied further after the central bank's liquidity moves had the effect of supporting the currency. So Ankara acted, that is Ankara is Turkey's capital. Ankara acted amid increased tension between the two NATO allies over the Turkey's detention of a Christian American pastor and other diplomatic issues, which have helped send the lira tumbling to a record loss against the dollar. The currency has lost nearly 40% against the dollar this year, driven by the worries over President Erdogan's growing influence on the economy and his repeated calls for lower interest rate despite high inflation. It rebounded some 6% on Wednesday, briefly strengthening to less than 6 against the dollar after the central bank squeezed lira liquidity in the market. And the US was the fourth largest source of import to the Turkey last year, accounting to something like 12 million US dollars of imports, according to IMF statistics. Turkey's key exports to the US last year amounted to 8.7 billion, making it Turkey the fifth largest export market. And the NATO allies have been at loggerheads over a wide range of topics, including the converging interest in Syria, Ankara's ambition to buy Russian defense systems. That's what the article is all about. So definitely the relevance of NATO is one question, and also it was another like the as I mentioned before, the effects of globalization, the intensity of globalization. This is what we can infer from a different dimension from the same article. So that's all important about this particular article. We will be moving on to the next one, that is Russia comes to the aid of China farmers. As the trade war between the China and the US escalates, Russia is coming to the Beijing's rescue by offering 1 million hectares of land suitable for cultivating soybeans and other agri products. So this is a really, this was a totally unexpected unexpected news, because I haven't I expect the same as your case also. That is, I never heard about a country giving access to some of its farmlands to another country. So and the article says that despite Russia broadening its footprint in Beijing's food security equation, analysts have pointed out that China may not be getting the best cultivable land in the Far East, which has already been parceled to domestic farmers So besides, a large influx may trigger local frictions in the view of perceptions that Chinese farmers are using excessive fertilizer and pesticides for its cultivation. So this is definitely, this move has to be anyway. The mindset of Russia is definitely um, need further looking into. That is, it has to be looked deep into, because India Russia equations, they usually used to be something pleasant, because we used to buy a lot of defense equipments from Russia, and our proximity with Russia in terms of diplomatic relations definitely is an unwelcome part for the US. And when we are going to when we if that is New Delhi comes in better relation with the US, definitely that worries Russia, and definitely all these are interrelated. And also right now our equations with China are seemingly positive, but there are a lot of issues that are yet to be sorted out, especially after the Doklam crisis. Our attempt to gain membership in the industry, everything was flawed by China and various other things also. I'll explain the whole process in some other article, but not this time. So definitely the interrelationship between the US, Russia, and China, and also right now our relationship with Iran is also under question. Especially US has asked us to reduce our imports and oil imports from Iran. So my point is the interconnectivity of all these things, all these diplomatic relations is definitely worth noticing. So that's all important about this. Moving on to the next one. RBI scrutinizing 200 stressed accounts. So exercise as a part of the regular annual inspection, says official. So as a part of its efforts to contain the rising NPA, the RBI has started scrutiny of 200 large accounts to assess the level of stress and provisioning done against them by the respective banks. So this exercise comes at a time when the NPA in the banking system have risen to more than 10 lakh crore, or 11.2% of advances compared to the 8 lakh crore that was last year. So the private sector lenders, which were reputed for their caution on asset quality against the poorly governed state-owned banks, were the worst hit in this particular exercise. So definitely the uh, you know the loss in state-owned banks, whenever an expert writes an article regarding such things, definitely he points out the governance system, because usually the top appointments in the bank usually is there will be a lot of interference from the government, especially regarding the top level appointments in that particular bank. But in the private banks there is no question about, but still the same problem the same NPA problem is also worst, or not something really better when compared with that of the government banks. So this definitely raises several questions. So among others, the mid-sized uh, private sector under the Yes Bank was found to have underreported. That's another reported thing, underreportage. And underreported a gross NPS by a whopping 11,000 crore in the two fiscals. So while the third largest lender, Axis Bank, was found to have divergence of more than 14,000 crore, ICICI was said to have underreported around 5,000 crores. So definitely this raises us a lot of questions regarding the better governance in which is the touted better governance in private sector banks. So that's all important about this article. So what I like to bring to your notice is that there was a mission Indra Dhanush that was intended to better intended for the improvement of the balance sheet of various kinds of banks. So definitely, and the whole process, NPA is right now a really big issue, because that hinders a lot of development, because banks will be reluctant to extend further loans. So definitely that affects our growth rate. So all these are interrelated, and such an understanding of this particular issue will be of great importance. So that's all important about this particular article. Moving on to the next one. So enough foreign forex reserves to tackle volatile rupees. That's what our finance minister has said, and he maintained that there was sufficient foreign exchange reserves to mitigate any undue volatility in the currency market. His comment comes a day after the rupee fell sharply against US dollar and has crossed the 70 rupees mark. So the recent developments relating to Turkey have generated global risk aversion towards emerging market currencies and strengthening of the dollar. That's what Minister tweeted. And the Union Minister added that the India's macroeconomic fundamentals remain silent, and that is resilient and strong. And also we have sufficient foreign exchange reserves. So definitely how this foreign exchange reserve is going to help how is that particular thing reliant, or how the foreign exchange reserves are going to help us in this particular process? That is definitely a question that I recommend all of you to do a further research on that particular thing. So that's all about this particular article. We are moving on to the next one. Stop misuse of consent route for the tax benefit. That's what that's what SEBI panel has recommended. There have been instances wherein the individuals and companies have managed to avail benefits from the income tax department on the money paid to the SEBI to settle matters under the consent mechanism. Now, a panel set up by the SEBI under the chairmanship of the Supreme Court former Justice A.R. Dave to review the consent mechanism has highlighted this regulatory loophole and recommended that the market watchdog take up the matter with the government. Interestingly, even if even the income tax authorities have accepted the reasoning given by the entities and allowed them to treat the settlement amount as an expense while calculating their taxable income, the premise put forth by the tax authorities is that the settlement amount is not a penalty and the money is paid without an admission of guilt. So ITA, that is Income Tax Appellate Tribunal, upheld the observation while stating that the settlement money was paid without admitting or denying charges, and hence there was no reason to believe that the consent application without admitting guilt amounted to evidence of an offense having been committed. That's all important about this. Anyway, let's see how things are going to, this is just a recommendation from that particular panel. Anyway, let's wait for the government to respond on this particular issue, or how the income taxes, the IT department is going to deal with the whole issue. That's all important about this particular article. Moving on to the next one and the last one. On ground hurdles could hold up EVs, that is electronic vehicles. So while the government at the center, states have taken proactive steps to encourage electric vehicles on ground, hurdles such as high level corruption at the RTOs could hold the sector back. That's what a particular CEO of an electric car manufacturing company has said. So definitely this raises a question regarding India's scheme to, there was a scheme to improve the presence of electric vehicles on our roads, and various experts from this particular field have openly declared that it will take at least 20 years to make such a gigantic shift from from petrol to electric vehicles. So please look at what that particular scheme is, and also what are the likely challenges in its implementation part. So that's all important about today's newspaper. Thank you very much for watching this video, and if you like this video, please hit the like button and do share it with your friends. You can follow us on Telegram, and you can also visit our blog, that is www.knowledgehouse.co, and please do subscribe our channel so that you won't miss any updates from us. And also another important thing to be noticed is you can support us definitely by paying it's not mandatory, but if it is possible, please do support us by using this Paytm number, and also share this video as much as possible. That's another way that you can support us. So thank you very much for watching this video once again, and advance thank you for if you share it with your friends, and if you are in a position to send something using this Paytm number. So that's all important. Thank you very much once again. Have a great day.